The iPhone 14 Pro is here, but that doesn't mean you need to upgrade. With the iPhone 13 Pro's release a little over a year ago, how and where do the Pro phones differ? While Apple's event name for its new Arsenal drop far out suggested groundbreaking innovations, the differences we see are subtle and mainly revolve around the addition of an improved camera system, an updated chipset, and some software tweaks. The dilemma many face now is simple. Are these differences impactful enough to warrant an upgrade? That depends. Here are the key reasons to make the switch to the iPhone 14 Pro or stick with last year's iPhone 13 Pro. And as always, you can check the pricing for any of these products in the description below. And if I'm able to get any discount or coupon codes, I'll include those for you as well. Now, let's get started. iPhone 14 Pro versus iPhone 13 Pro, price and release date. The iPhone 13 Pro was launched in 2021 with a starting price of £949 or $999 US or 1,699 Australian dollars. And surprisingly, the price has stayed the same for the iPhone 14 Pro, or at least it has in the US, where it's still $999. In the UK, it now starts at £1,099 and 1,749 Australian dollars in Australia. Pre-orders for the iPhone 14 Pro begin on 9 September and will be available from 16 September. iPhone 13 Pro versus iPhone 14 Pro design. The iPhone 13 Pro largely sticks to the design laid out by the iPhone 12 Pro, with flat glass surface and a flat stainless steel rim. The main difference here was a chunky new camera module. The new iPhone 14 Pro looks almost entirely the same, and you'd need to be a phone expert to spot the difference. The most significant difference is the lack of a forehead notch. The new iPhone 14 Pro models use a pill-shaped cutout, and Apple is not shying away from using the so-called dynamic island as an active and central part of its new interface design. Users who have a dynamic island phone will be able to show off the differences with style. The iPhone 13 Pro, by way of a comparison, comes in graphite, gold, silver, and Sierra blue. For color options on the newer phone, we get a similar state of colors for launch, but color options can always be added later in the phone's lifecycle. Instead of graphite gray, we get a darker midnight black. There's no blue option, and instead Apple has opted for a deep purple that looks quite stormy, especially compared to a lighter purple offered on the Apple iPhone 14. iPhone 13 Pro versus iPhone 14 Pro display. The iPhone 13 Pro comes with a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, which features an 1170 by 2532 resolution. It also saw the smartphone debut of Apple's 120Hz ProMotion refresh rate standard. The iPhone 14 Pro sticks to nearly the same specs, only a few pixels larger at 1179 by 2556 resolution. It gets the same 120Hz ProMotion capability, but Apple cranks up the brightness significantly. The iPhone 14 Pro can achieve 1600 nits brightness, which Apple says is the same as its Studio XDR desktop display. In bright sunlight, the iPhone 14 Pro can crank the screen all the way up to 2000 nits. Apple has improved the LTPO technology that enables a variable refresh rate. The iPhone 13 Pro can drop to 10 Hz where applicable, while the iPhone 14 Pro can drop to 1 Hz. This means Apple offers an always-on display on the iPhone 14 Pro without draining too much battery life. It will also suggest the iPhone 13 Pro might not be retrofitted with the same feature. iPhone 14 Pro versus iPhone 13 Pro cameras. Matching the event name, the new camera suite for the iPhone 14 Pro lets you take photos far out. Going for the iPhone 13 Pro's 12-megapixel main wide camera to a 48-megapixel main wide camera, the larger sensor enables improved low-light shots and better autofocus, and keeps figures in focus while still providing details and vibrancy to the surrounding subjects. A 48-megapixel enables better zoom and night mode or low-light capabilities, providing sharper image even from far away or in dark conditions. Not to mention the 48-megapixel sensor is 65 times larger than the iPhone 13 Pro's main camera. Along with the main 48-megapixel camera, the 14 Pro is equipped with a 12-megapixel ultra-wide lens and a 12-megapixel telephoto lens with 3 times zoom capabilities. The new sensor also adds a 2x telephoto option that captures detail, sharpening exposure from further away. For video, the iPhone 14 Pro has a new action mode to help with stabilization, even when you are in action behind the camera. For all you casual home filmmakers, cinematic mode is also improved, with even sharper quality and detail between transitions. iPhone 14 Pro versus iPhone 13 Pro chip and performance. A new A16 Bionic chipset will be running this show inside the iPhone 14 Pro, an upgrade on the iPhone 13 Pro's A15 Bionic. The new silicon isn't a chip that the regular iPhone 14 won't get. The lower models phones will use a modified A15 Bionic chip. It's the same chip found in the iPhone 13 Pro models, which features a 6-core CPU, 5-core GPU, and a 16-core neural processor. This makes the gap between the iPhone 14 and the 14 Pro larger than previous years, but performance-wise means that the lower-tier iPhone 14 models should be comparable to the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max. Built on a 4nm architecture, the A16 chip offers more transistors than the 5nm design of the A15 Bionic. This essentially means that it can use more transistors in the same amount of space, increasing performance and efficiency over its predecessor. In fact, Apple claims that the A16 uses 20% less power than the A15, which will improve battery life, and that is up to 40% more powerful than its rivals. Think of the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. We don't yet have any performance figures comparing the A16 to the A15. However, alleged benchmarks for this new chip published before the iPhone 14 range reveal showed a 5% total increase in performance compared to the iPhone 13 Pro, possibly due to Apple moving to faster LPDDR5 RAM, which has yet been confirmed by Apple. The new A16 Bionic chip also benefits the iPhone 14 Pro camera too, featuring a new advanced image processor. The iPhone 14 Pro will offer the same storage capacities as the iPhone 13 Pro, 128 gigs as standard with options to upgrade to 256 gigs, 512 gigs, or 1TB. iPhone 13 Pro versus iPhone 14 Pro battery life. The iPhone 13 Pro upped its battery capacity to 3095 mAh, resulting in a remarkably better battery life than its previous Pro model. We're hopeful that iPhone 14 Pro can follow suit, and Apple claims it should have better battery life than the previous generation. Apple does not publish its battery specs, so we'll need to wait for confirmation to be sure. There have been no significant improvements to the charging situation. You still need to spring for a more advanced 25-watt charger to get even the best charging speeds Apple offers, and that won't be competitively fast. Apple also stuck with Lightning for another year. No hope for USB-C on an iPhone anytime soon. iPhone 14 Pro versus iPhone 13 Pro, which should you buy? In my opinion, the choice is pretty clear which is the best iPhone. The small increase in price you will pay for the iPhone 14 Pro will be more than worth the new advancements and added benefits. The small increase in price you will pay for the iPhone 14 Pro will be more than worth the new advancements and added benefits. The iPhone 14 Pro offers a convenient always-on interface and the new dynamic island to keep your experience interactive and streamlined. This newer model also has a better camera and a faster, more powerful chipset. And perhaps the most impressive advancement is the development of emergency SOS services through satellite communication and crash detection. Really, the only reason I can see to choose the iPhone 13 Pro over the 14 Pro is the lack of the SIM card tray, and this would only apply to some unusual cases. For those that live in the United States and use a small local carrier or spend a lot of time in developing countries who might not find ready support for eSIM technology. If that's the case, then the iPhone 13 Pro may be a better choice for you. Otherwise, go for the upgrade. So, that wraps up our video. Hope you found this video helpful, and if so, please leave a thumbs up as I always appreciate that. Also, please feel free to leave a comment, suggestion for future videos, or questions you have, as we love getting to respond to as many of those as we can. And if you subscribe to the channel, welcome to our legit big family. We've got lots of more videos coming your way. Till then, stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.